Hello, fifth grade. Today's math lesson is over lesson 1.4, and we are talking about comparing fractions. A couple of things that we need to keep in mind. When we are comparing fractions, we will use the symbols greater than and less than, and these are like the alligator mouths that we have used since when you were younger. So we will be using those symbols today. Another vocabulary word that we're going to need to know is called a common denominator. Common denominator. If we're thinking about what we know, common means that two things are going to be the same. And if you remember, denominator is the bottom number of a fraction. So in order to have a common denominator, two fractions need to have the same bottom number. So two fractions have a common denominator when they have the same number on the bottom. We need this to compare fractions. In order to compare our fractions like we are wanting to, we need to have a common denominator, which means we need to have both of the bottom numbers be the same. I'm going to underline the word need because we need it to happen. Really need it to happen so that we can compare fractions easily. First, let's take a look at just some fraction strips and comparing, because this will help show you visually what it will look like. So these two fractions have the same bottom number. They're both a 6. Let's go ahead and shade in 3/6. That is what 3/6 looks like. I just shaded in 3 out of the 6 pieces. My other fraction is 4/6. So I'm going to shade in 4 out of the 6 pieces so that we can easily see which one is bigger. There's 2 of them, there's 3 of them, and there's 4. Which one of those is bigger, 3/6 or 4/6? Hopefully you said 4/6. So my alligator mouth is going to eat that way. Just like that, open towards the bigger number. Let's try another one. You will notice these two do not have the same bottom number. So we have 2/5. I'm going to shade in 2 of these 5 pieces on the top rectangle here. 1 and 2. So that would be 2/5. And 2/7. Let's shade in 2 out of these 7 on my second rectangle here. Now you can easily see what 2/5 looks like and what 2/7 looks like. Which one is bigger? 2/5. So my alligator mouth is going to eat that way. Perfect. Now, we will not always have fraction strips to help us see which one is bigger. So we need to know how to do it just by using our math skills. So let's look down here a little bit farther at some more examples. I have 2/10 and 1/10. First, I want to check, are my bottom numbers the same? Yes, they are. So when they're already the same, it's easy. I just look at the top. Is 2/10 bigger or 1/10? Think of pizza. Would you rather have 2 slices or 1? The answer would be 2, so my alligator mouth goes this way. 2/10 is bigger than 1/10. All right, let's try this one. We have 5/8 and 6/8. Look at your bottom numbers first. If they're both the same, it's easy. We just look at the top. Would you rather have 5 slices or 6 slices? 6 is bigger, so my alligator mouth goes that way. Now, my next example here has 1/5 and 4/10. Uh-oh, my bottom numbers are not the same this time. In order to make them the same, we can use multiplication. So I'm looking, I know I could take 5 times 2, and that would make it a 10. Look, now my bottom number is a 10. If I times by 2 on the bottom, I also have to times by 2 on the top. So thinking about my new top number here, 1 times 2 is 2. Now I have fixed my problem because now both of my bottom numbers are a 10, and I'm looking at the top. Would I rather have 2/10 or 4/10? I'd rather have 4/10. So my alligator is going to go that way. Let's do another one like that. Here I have 7/12 and 1/3. Looking again, my bottom numbers are not the same, so I need to use some multiplication so that they are the same. I know 3 times 4 would get me to a 12. That would work because then they'd both be the same. So if I times my bottom number by 4, I have to times my top number by 4 also. 1 times 4 would be 4. So my new fraction over here is 4/12. Which one is bigger, 7/12 or 4/12? Hopefully you said 7/12. All right, 2 more here. We have 2/3 and 3/7. Different bottom numbers. I'm thinking, what could I multiply by so that they were both the same? Now, this one's a little trickier. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. So here's a trick that will always work. If you can't think of anything to multiply by to make the bottom numbers the same, you can always multiply by the opposite. So to fix 2/3, I'm going to multiply by the number on the bottom over here. So I'm going to multiply it by 7 on the top and bottom. So I just take this fraction and times it by the opposite bottom number. So let's work that out. 7 times 2, that would give me 14. And 7 times 3, that would give me 21. Okay, now I need to go over here and fix this one. So I have 3/7. Remember, we're going to multiply by the opposite bottom number. So I'm looking over here. My opposite bottom number was a 3. So I'm going to times this top and bottom by 3. When I do that, I need to work it out. 3 times 3 is 9. 7 times 3 is 21. And look, we have solved our problem because now our bottom numbers are the same, 21 and 21. Now, just looking at our top numbers, we have 14 21sts over here and 9 21sts over here. Which one would be more? 14. So our alligator mouth goes that way. Let's try one more like that. We have 4/5 and 5/6. I notice that my bottom numbers are not the same. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would help them out. So we're going to use the same trick. We're going to multiply by the opposite bottom number. So let's fix 4/5 first. I'm going to multiply by my opposite bottom number, which is a 6. So I'm going to put a little times 6 on the top and bottom here. Remember, you have to do the same to the top and the bottom. Then we have to work it out. 6 times 4, that's 24. And 6 times 5, that's 30. So I have 24/30ths over here. Now I need to fix this one. 5/6. Remember, I'm going to multiply by the opposite bottom number. So that would be a 5. So I'm going to take times 5 on the top and the bottom. Top number, let's work it out. 5 times 5, that's 25. My bottom number, 6 times 5, that would be 30. Now I have the same bottom number, 30 and 30. So now I just look at the top. Would you rather have 24/30ths or 25/30ths? It's a close one. 25 is a little bit bigger. So my alligator mouth is going to go that way. Alrighty? The trick to remember here, if your bottom numbers are different, you can always multiply by the opposite. You can always multiply by the opposite. So if your bottom numbers are different, multiply each side by the opposite bottom number. On your homework today, you are going to be practicing that. Good luck. Do your very best.